From claims that the Oregon Trail ruts are fake to 200-year-old pioneer heirlooms in your attics, today we're tackling your biggest comments and addressing some misconceptions about the Oregon Trail. Let's get into it. Viewer Ryan DAD1 left a comment asserting, "The wagon train ruts are a myth. The tracks you see were made by far more modern vehicles, including tractors. They just simply couldn't last this long. It's a great story, but still just a myth." Honestly, the first time I stood next to them, I wondered the exact same thing. It's hard to wrap your head around dirt tracks sticking around for nearly 200 years. But when you look at the evidence, there's no question they're real. For starters, local museum maps from the 1800s match these exact paths. On top of that, you've got simple soil science. Hundreds of thousands of iron wagon wheels and heavy livestock pack this ground so hard that plant life still grows completely different inside the ruts. Plus, we have the physical proof right on site. Out near Biggs, Oregon, there's a charred wooden post right beside the tracks where an official trail sign stood before a wildfire hit it. They might look like modern tractor tracks at a quick glance, but trust me, these are the real deal. Viewer Tyler P0515 left a comment asking, "Why do you keep saying they're immigrants? They're settlers. There is a difference." He's right. There is a difference. And word choice in history matters enormously. In the 1840s, Oregon wasn't a U.S. state or territory yet. When families left Missouri, they were literally leaving the United States and moving into disputed foreign land. To the communities they left behind in the East, they were emigrants leaving home. To the sovereign indigenous nations already living here, they were incoming migrants. Using multiple terms isn't about being careless with language. It helps us see this massive historical journey from every perspective. Viewer CM1642 brought up a couple of great questions, writing, "Wasn't Oregon already Oregon when they set out to travel there? If they were never on this trail before, how would they know what landmarks to look out for?" To answer the first part, the region was known as the Oregon Country, but it wasn't a U.S. state or official territory yet. It was an unorganized, vast wilderness jointly claimed by the U.S. and Great Britain. So how did thousands of emigrants navigate 2,000 miles of that wilderness with no GPS, highway signs, or prior experience? First, they relied heavily on published books, like Lansford Hastings' famous 1845 guide, which mapped out daily distances, water sources, and key landmarks like Chimney Rock or the Blue Mountains. More importantly, they weren't forging blind paths. They were following ancient routes established over centuries by indigenous tribes, often led by local scouts and fur trappers, who knew every river crossing by heart. If you'd like to support the channel and get early access to upcoming episodes, hit the join button right next to subscribe. Now let's move on to our next milepost. Viewer Tari Gibson 1193 left a deeply moving comment sharing a chapter of her own family history. "My fifth great-grandmother was Cayuse, and her husband was Chief Peopeomoxmox, the Walla Walla chief who signed the Treaty of 1855 and was murdered by militia 6 months later under a flag of truce. He was 65 years old." History often sanitizes westward expansion, but the reality on the ground was complex and frequently tragic. Chief Peopeomoxmox was a respected leader who sought peace for his people, yet he was taken captive during a negotiation and killed while held prisoner. Telling the story of Oregon means telling the whole story, not just the wagon trains, but the profound loss and enduring legacy of the sovereign nations who were already here. A huge thank you to Tari for sharing her family's truth with us. Viewer Scott Stewart, K8F, shared a remarkable piece of living history, writing, "I have a copy of a handwritten letter documenting a large gourd grown around 1800 and used to hold fruit tree seeds for the trip west in 1847. Those seeds filled a 12-acre orchard near Jefferson, Oregon, and provided fruit to other settlers. The gourd was passed down and now resides on my hearth. My sister, children, and I transcribed the letter this past Christmas to keep the history intact for future generations." Having a physical piece of the trail on your hearth and actively preserving the family records behind it is what keeps history alive. And preserved history comes in oral traditions too. Viewer 10th Generation American 66 shared a deeply personal memory about their grandmother who walked the Oregon Trail as a child with 8 siblings. Later in life, she got dementia and would repeat a rhyme over and over, "Blue Mountain Blues, just a shaking in your shoes." I've never been able to find anything related to it. That idiom, "shaking in your shoes," emerged in the late 19th century to describe sheer dread. Crossing the rugged Blue Mountains was easily one of the most brutal, terrifying final legs of the 2,000-mile journey. Pairing it with Blue Mountain Blues was a vivid way for pioneers to pass down the memory of that fear, a piece of authentic trail folklore carried in her memory for a lifetime. Does anyone else have an old family saying or pioneer heirloom sitting at home? Let me know in the comments.
2 miles, take exit 147 for Oregon 74 toward Ione, Heppner.
Viewer user D9X4Z left a great comment saying, "I would love to see a video on how you do your research." A full deep dive video is definitely in the works, but the short answer is that it starts long before I ever step foot on the trail. I spent hours digging through digitized state archives, 19th century pioneer journals, and historic land maps. By matching those historic documents with satellite maps, we can pinpoint the exact terrain, so when we take the camera out, you're looking at history right where it actually happened. Finally, viewer KW2470 and viewer Aguilar43093 and a few others pointed out some issues with audio levels and pacing in recent videos. I really appreciate feedback like that. We're already tweaking our audio mix to make sure the narration comes through crystal clear. We're really building a great community of Oregon history enthusiasts here, and your input is a huge part of that. The stories and questions you share in the comments don't just help my research, they add so much value for other viewers too. Be sure to keep those thoughts and questions coming. Got a pioneer story or family heirloom? Leave it in the comments for part 2. Hit subscribe or join as a channel member for early access to future videos. We'll see you on the next adventure.